So simplifying radical expressions, summary. The perfect squares are an important part of simplifying radical expressions. It's important to know your perfect squares. This one lists up through 12. I would anticipate you know your perfect squares up through 15. So 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, good, let's keep going, 144, good, good, excellent. Anybody know the next one? I know. Well, there's a 296, no, there's a 289. No, there's a 256, a 289, 324. No, 625. All right. The perfect squares and exponents. The perfect squares and exponents are all even squares. So 2, 4, 6, 10, etc. So to be a perfect square with exponents, they must be even. Sorry, not evens, just even. Even? Okay, the square root of 25, that's how you say that. The square root of 25 is 5, because 5 squared is 25, so you have a double underneath the radical, so it becomes the square root because the squared and the square root cancel. Square root of 36 equals 6, because 6 squared equals 36. So the square root of 100 equals, good, and the square root of 49 equals, the square root of a to the 6th is equal to a cubed. Now I cannot take credit for making this handout, which means I can also tell you the handout is flawed, because that is even. The square root becomes an odd, therefore you need absolute values. Square root of n to the 16 equals n to the 8. Because what number can you multiply 8 by and 2 to get 16? So the square root of y to the 10. So basically we're doing this multiplying by 2 in reverse. So the square root of y to the 10 would be like taking 10 and dividing it by 2. So that is equal to y to the... Now, this is even, that's odd, therefore we need... Excellent. Square root of a squared, 2 divided by 2 is... 1 is odd, therefore... Perfect. What? Okay, the first part, these are all perfect squares. So this should be pretty quick. Square root of 4 is? Good. Square root of 16? Negative square root of 100 becomes? Excellent. Square root of a to the 8th becomes? Absolute values or no absolute values? None, because 4 is also even, therefore no absolute values. Okay, multiple variables doesn't change the rule. Square root of a to the 6th becomes square root of b to the 10th becomes. Now, both of those started as, so then they both get to absolute values, so you can actually just put it in one big absolute value. Okay? I heard 3. I like the 3. What goes with it? I like the A. Absolute values. Okay, so negative stays. Square root of 81 is m to the 64. Excellent. Square root of 49. A to the 4th. B to the 12th. Do I need any absolute values in here? Okay, 121. X to the 14. Awesome. Y to the 6. It also needs absolute values, so you can either put it in with the X, or you could have 2 sets of them, but 3 is odd, so also needs absolute values. I am odd. All right, now the bottom part, what happens if they're not perfect squares? That's the simplifying that we have to do with the numbers by breaking them or breaking the values into other parts. So there's 3 examples at the top for you just for reference. Okay, 45 breaks into what perfect square and what other number? So I need a perfect square and a non-perfect square. Perfect, 5 and 9. The square root of 9 is, so I get 3 square roots of 5. Okay, 12. 12 breaks down into what perfect square? 4 and 3. 6 and 2 are not great choices because neither one's a perfect square. So I heard a couple of us say 6 and 2. You always want to try to find a perfect square. So the 4 and 3 is a better choice because 4 is a perfect square. So the square root of 4 is, and then you're left with the square root of 3. So 50, I'm going to break that down into what perfect square? The square root of 25 is? So you're left with 5 square roots of 2. Variables are kind of like numbers. You're looking for the perfect square and the non-perfect square. So the perfect square is the even, one less than that odd. And then the non-perfect square is the odd. So, x to the 9th, what even number is 1 less than 9? 8. So you have x to the 8th and x. So you take the even number, divide it by 2. 8 divided by 2 is? So you have x to the 4 root x. Okay, what evens 1 less than 3? It's like x squared and x. square root of x squared is x, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. Why does this not get an absolute value? Why does that one not have an absolute value? So the So that is like what you said though, without like actually saying what you mean to say, is kind of right though. So because this started as an odd, if it starts as an odd, it never gets an absolute value. So I think you kind of had that recall from yesterday. So if it starts as an odd, they never get absolute values. So even though we end up looking at x squared and simplifying it, it started odd, so no absolute values necessary. Okay, so what we're going to do is spend the rest of the time doing the bottom 20 problems, and then you're doing the back also. You're doing the front and back. So due Monday is all 3 homeworks from this packet. So here's your original packet. All 3 homeworks are due Monday. It's 5 total pages. So due Monday is 5 total pages. How many pages are due Monday? 5. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Sure. Yes, let me go backwards to that page. Did it again? Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. So then if you got your 48 in there and the 192, so 192 actually, so the negative 4 tags along. So 192, I'm going to guess divides by 16. I have no idea. I just went with 4 because it was even. But you still could be right. So it would be like square root 64. So you should have 8 times 4. So yeah, you're negative 32 square root x. So yeah. Yeah, there's a 3. I just wasn't sure. Well, like, I was just not, yeah, yes, yeah, right. I have other answers if there's other, I have like the actual answer to something. You can check it. I have a question. Yeah. So, number 16 on class